hub here on Red Mountain, but you see that lovely sunset view there, and you know, that just looks like an October sky, right? Just looks like October, that orange glow out there. But yeah, it's time, it's the season is here, time to pick out a pumpkin, as we are going to be seeing some changes coming up. Right now, though, very dry in West Alabama. I mentioned there were some pop-ups earlier, but a live look from the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater in Tuscaloosa. All those little pop-up showers have moved now over into Mississippi. There was a very weak, some troughing in the atmosphere. It started out over East Alabama. It worked its way west overnight, so you checked in with us on good day. That's but earlier today we were tracking some of those pop-ups over into the western part of the state, but that is on out of here. Still not a lot of rain, and tomorrow looks dry. It also looks breezy, and I'm very concerned about these fire weather conditions tomorrow. We have worsening drought. We've got low relative humidity, and you throw into the mix winds that could gust up to 20 miles per hour tomorrow. Avoid burning. It is going to be dangerously dry. Much cooler coming up by Friday morning with this breeze tomorrow. That's going to usher in that cooler air. In fact, could see some low 50s on the map by early Friday morning. You're going to wake up Friday and say, okay, it's October, and a chance for a few isolated storms later on Sunday and into next week. Temperature-wise tomorrow, still calling for highs in the 80s, but again, I mentioned it is going to be breezy during the day, so that's going to help us out with those comfort levels. You can see that wind out of the east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So we have dry weather conditions, no tropical trouble for us, but here's a look at Imelda. Max winds at 100 miles per hour, and right there, if you look closely, you see that on the map? That is Bermuda. So this will have an impact on Bermuda out here in the Atlantic, but it is moving more towards the east direction at the moment. This is going to stay out over the Atlantic. No concern for us, and it should sweep on out to sea. There is another wave I'm keeping a watch on over the central Atlantic, but it looks like it's going to follow a similar path where it makes that turn northwest. That's been the trend so far, but October can still be a very active month when it comes to hurricane season. So a lot that we will be tracking. But right now, I want to head on over to Matt, who's looking at what typically happens to temperatures and rain for this month.
Happy first day of October. Let's talk about the weather that we typically see in the month of October. And it's really an important month of transition because we are starting to get away from those hot months and get closer to winter. So we got a wide variety. These are a look at our average high temperatures for October 1st, 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th, all the way to Halloween. And notice, start of the month, we average in the low 80s, but by the end of the month, our average high temperature is right around 70. So yeah, if you want those cool days, they're getting here sooner than later. So just to give you an idea, it can still be extremely hot in the month of October. These are the hottest temperature recordings for Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Anniston. All three locations hit the triple digits in early October, and it was in 2019. Very hot day on October 3rd. Hit 100 in Anniston and 101 in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. What about our average low temperatures in the month of October? Well, typically we start out the month on average with temperatures right around 60 degrees. By the middle of the month, we're in the mid 50s, and by the end of the month, our average low in the upper 40s. So, yep, we get those chilly mornings. They're going to be here before too long. The big question is, how cold can it get in the month of October? Well, guess what? We can see freezing temperatures, and we've seen that. These are the coldest morning low temperatures on record. In Birmingham, we hit 27 degrees back on October 28th, 1957. 23, a hard freeze in late October, but that was a long time ago, October 30th in 1952, and it was a cold day on October 30th, 1952 in Anniston as well, with the low temperature of 22 degrees. When we talk about rainfall, October, usually extremely dry. This is our driest month on the calendar year. On average, we'll pick up maybe 3 to 3.5 inches of rain. So usually in October, we'll see several Octobers where you pick up very little rainfall. There's been some extremes in October when it comes to lots of rain. In fact, check out Birmingham. We recorded almost 12 inches of rainfall in the month of October back in 1995. And if you recall 1995, there was a storm that gave us a lot of rain, Hurricane Opal. So that's had a huge play in how much rain we saw in that particular year. Tuscaloosa, over 13 inches of rain fell in 2019. And I was just looking back in time, and I think we had a tropical storm Olga that moved through the southeast that probably was responsible for some of that rain. And then Aniston, over 9 inches of rain back in 1995. Finally, we think of fall, we also think about the time change. And just a reminder, daylight saving time ends November 2nd, which is just about 32 days away from now.
Well, if you missed the space station flyover last night, it's another nice evening for it with dry conditions, and it happens tonight at 7:56. If you look back to the northwest, it won't be quite as high in the sky tonight, but it happens again tomorrow night around 7:06. You look back towards the northwest. So some great nights for sky watching out there. And it's going to stay very dry. If you're heading down to the coast this weekend, weather's going to be unsettled. Saturday and Sunday, chance for some scattered storms and showers. That's that same system that's going to bring us our next chance for a few scattered storms into early next week, so we'll be watching what happens there. A lot of events coming up for us this weekend. Now, the good thing, the weather's going to cooperate for the Greek Festival in Birmingham. If you're heading out to grab a bite on Friday, you can see there temperatures by 4 o'clock up to 82 degrees. That morning's going to start out cool on Friday, but into the evening also feeling nice out there. Friday night, we will have some clearing again during the overnight hours. Heading out to Pinson for the Butterbean Festival, temperatures cooling off into the 60s, and then heading to Oxford Fest there coming up on Saturday. We'll start out in East Alabama, more mid-50s possible early Saturday morning. Nice cool start, afternoon temperatures in the 80s. But we'll keep you updated on those weekend events, including some kickoff forecasts, but more on the 10-day and what's on the way. That's all coming up. But right now, I want to go to Mickey with a look at some awesome viewer photos.
Well, it's that time of the week when you become part of our weather team. Here on First Alert Weather Extra, we have submitted photos from you guys, and this is sent in. They didn't give their name. They just sent this sunrise or sunset in from Brookwood, Alabama. Absolutely gorgeous there with the field, and got the hay ready to go into the barn. Harold Settle sent this in. It's a sunset on Logan Martin Lake, and check out the beautiful sailboat here too. They've got a sailing club there on the big water by Logan Martin Dam. If you go out on the weekends, you'll see them out there sailing. But man, what a beautiful sunset to sail into there on Logan Martin Lake. Just a beautiful lake in our area. Look at Dauphin Island. This is from Kathy Davidson, sent this in. It's sunrise as we see the colors with the clouds there off in the distance. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sending that in. And we have one more view. This is from Tanya Justice, Lock 17 in Brookwood. Looks like they got the bass boat out, fishing the weeds. I've been fishing the weeds outside my little place in Gadsden, Alabama with my fly rod. I haven't caught a thing yet, so getting close to crappie season, so I know we're going to get another line in the water, but hopefully Tanya or whoever is fishing there caught him a big one. If you want to send in your photo, be a part of our weather team, just get those pictures coming in. You can either scan this QR code that we give out from time to time with your camera settings on your smart device, or just do an app search in your app store there for WBRC First Alert. Keep those pictures coming in.
Explore the wonders of weather with Weather in the Classroom. Scan the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
It's been almost a month since a fire started by lightning swept through a historic gold rush town in California. Now, people are cleaning up what's left of Chinese camp, but it's going to take a long time to return to a sense of normalcy. Tori has the story on this right here.
This has always been my home, and now it's destroyed, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it right now, but just keep surviving, so we're gonna make it.
They may have lost everything on their property, but they aren't losing hope.
This is where the Campions survive.
The Lightning Complex fire consumed Chinese camp, leaving people like Marianne and Robert Patrick living out of a trailer in tents on their burnt-out property, surrounded by blackened metal that's now only memories. Tuesday, marking the first phase of recovery, with state-certified cleanup crews searching for hazardous materials like propane tanks and batteries, placing placards on properties, clearing homeowners to move in and sift through the rubble. But the community still has a lot of questions about how they got here.
Why? Why was the fire allowed to burn for hours in the Red Hills approaching town?
Denise's home survived.
This was my piano.
But her garage that was full of decades of antiques and relics, unrecognizable. She says the gold rush town she grew up in and raised her children in now looks like a war zone.
It was just block after block of smoldering ash and metal sticking up, and I have never seen anything like that.
All of the non-hazardous debris isn't going anywhere until phase 2, when homeowners will have the option to pay to do it themselves or opt into a state program. That'll require them moving off of the property for the cleanup.
Every year, everything is the same. You could always rely on Chinese camp being Chinese camp. And then now it's completely changed.
This community devastated, but determined to recover.
We will end up rebuilding, and we're not going to go anywhere.
Well, check this out. What you're looking at is a dust devil. This was caught on cam in Bastrop, Texas. That's southeast of Austin. Dust devils form when a pocket of hot air near the surface rises quickly with cooler air above it. That forms an updraft. Dust devils are rarely dangerous. You can see in this video the dust devil lifting dirt in a field. Pretty cool. What's the blame for the massive melting of Switzerland's glaciers? Well, Swiss glaciologists said Wednesday ice mass has declined by 1/4 over the last decade due to global warming. This year alone, there was a 3% drop in total volume. It's the 4th largest annual drop on record. Right now, Switzerland has nearly 1,400 glaciers, the most of any country in Europe. The gradual melting of the ice mass has implications for hydropower, tourism, farming, and water resources in many European countries. Parts of a popular party destination in Spain have flooded following torrential rain. Vehicles on some streets in Ibiza were almost entirely submerged. Firefighters assisted people trapped inside their cars or homes. Local authorities also issued a red alert, with forecasters are expecting over 7 inches of rain in some areas. And in North Carolina, they're facing a growing problem. Homes built along the ocean's edge are collapsing amid big waves from hurricanes in the Atlantic. But it's not a new problem. Will Thomas has the story.
It's awful. Something that I think we all knew we might see one day, but there was a big part of us that hoped it wouldn't actually happen.
A nightmare has become a reality in Buxton as 5 homes collapsed on Tuesday. For Daniel Poland, the one falling here hitting home.
This one's really tough because I kind of grew up on this street and lived on this street for a few years.
An unbelievable scene for Luke Midget, who captured videos of some of the houses the minute they fell in.
I'm just shocked. Can't imagine this happens anywhere else. 5 collapses within like 1 hour.
17 total now on Hatteras Island have been taken by the ocean since 2020. 11 in Rodanthe and 6 in Buxton. All 6 in Buxton coming in the last 2 weeks. The Buxton Civic Association hoping this can be a turning point in the future for stabilizing the area. Beach nourishment and a jetty repair are expected next year.
I think it has to be some sort of turning point, either a recognition that it's too late for these homes, but we've figured out some paths forward that we can maybe save the rest, the second line, you know, before the other side of Old Lighthouse becomes oceanfront.
But with worries about what the rest of the week will bring, Buxton is going to need help.
We're going to need some help when it's over. We're going to need help moving forward. We're going to need help from the legislature making some changes that allow us to help ourselves. And we've been screaming at semi-deaf ears, so it's time to get them unclogged.
The Cape Hatteras National Seashore is urging people to stay away from the collapsed houses. They fear future collapses are possible due to ocean conditions. A large portion of the beachfront is closed for public safety.
All right, we'll take you from the Outer Banks to Gulf Shores, Alabama. A live look from the hangout, and you can see the weather's turning a bit unsettled down along coastal areas. We'll see a disturbance near the coast. It's going to bring some scattered storms and showers Saturday and Sunday. However, we could see some of that rain by Sunday move as far north as our coverage area. Hopefully, we need some rain bad. Right now it's dry. Live look from Talladega County here at Oak Grove where it's 79 degrees. Shelby County really glowing this evening from the University of Montevallo as we look at First Alert Sky Vision. But one of the big stories here, we have a first alert for dangerous fire conditions out there. We've talked about the drought and avoid burning. Well, tomorrow, throw into the mix an east wind, 10 to 20 miles per hour, low humidity, so just be extra careful in that drought worsening. In fact, tomorrow we'll get the updated drought monitor, and we'll be sharing that with you right here on Weather Extra. But as we take a look at the wind gusts, you'll notice that tomorrow the wind is gusty as 20 miles per hour. So it is going to be breezy. Temperatures in the 80s. That window is really going to help us out with comfort levels tomorrow, especially if you can find a shady area. Notice there's 3 o'clock. We're showing areas to the south, especially winds there maybe as high as 20, 22 miles per hour. So a little breezy, kicking up a lot of dust tomorrow, and also that ragweed. Don't forget, pollen levels, ragweed allergies at a high right now. It's that time of the year. It's ragweed season. Next 24 hours, as far as rainfall goes, we'll bring that data in, show you the cloud coverage. And tonight, you can see by 10 o'clock, the clouds really thinning out. And notice how quickly those temperatures again drop tonight. We'll be in the 60s before you know it. Areas to the east and north. So another rapid improvement in temperatures because that ground is so dry. And then tomorrow, low 60s, even showing 62 there at Alabaster, 60 around Pell City, 58 around Coleman. So there's some areas to the north, maybe even around Winfield and over towards Jasper and north towards Double Springs around Smith Lake and Addison. We might see a few 70s there early in the day tomorrow. But the rest of the day, highs in the 80s again with that wind. You see those arrows, that's showing the direction the wind is coming from. So we're going to have that breeze out of the mostly east direction here across the state, and that wind may be quite gusty at times, especially for areas south. But no rain showing up tomorrow, no rain showing up Friday, but Friday morning, some cool air showing up. I'm going to go ahead and say it. 1 out of 4 on the pumpkin spice level there for early Friday morning. It's going to be nice and cool there. You'll notice temperatures as low as 53 degrees at Coleman. Nice cool start to the day. Looks like for the rest of that day, though, we'll warm up into the 80s. Saturday looks dry. No issues for events going on, but notice Sunday, models still showing this, that disturbance near the coast and a surge of moisture and perhaps a few scattered showers and thunderstorms in that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday window there early next week. It's not going to last all week, but there's a chance we might see some scattered showers and storms. Actually, we go over to the 10-day forecast, you'll see that we did place a 40% chance for showers and storms for next Wednesday. Tania and I were looking at the long-range data, and there's a front that moves in, and after that, notice how we trend drier again, but that may squeeze out a few showers and storms around the middle of next week. But you can see those temperatures there in the 80s, overnight lows in the 60s. But one thing going beyond this 10-day forecast as we go to Tania, you and I were looking at some long-range data showed maybe for that following week in October, a big surge of cool air possible.
Yeah, and the big question, Wes, is will it last? I hope that it comes and stays, but we're still in this transitional period. Here we are looking at our precipitation outlook, October 7th through October the 11th. You can see here across the southeast and central Alabama, we're actually going to be dealing with below average rainfall, and that's typical for this time time of the month. October is one of the driest months of the year for our area. But what Wes was talking about was that drier air moving in as we approach the middle of the month of October. So let's walk through this. You can see that this is October 14th heading into the 15th. That drier air starts to filter in and that muggier air stays along the coast and parts of Florida. But we will definitely be feeling a lot better outside. Unfortunately, though, some of our climate prediction data is still coming in at above average, but that just means that our average in October around 75, we might still be trending slightly above that. So for us here across the southeast, still seeing some afternoon high temperatures reaching upper 70s and maybe even some low 80s. But I do think there'll be some mornings ahead of us where we can see some cooler temperatures in the 50s. But that's that beyond the 10-day forecast. Of course, we'll keep you up to date. We're coming back with a look at some of your weather photos after the break.
All right, welcome back into Weather Extra. So Tania, looks like maybe some scattered storms Sunday to Monday. We need it. It's not a lot, but we'll take it.
I know, right? Yeah. So we'll keep our eyes on it for you and we'll give you updates. But take a look at some of these pictures, Wes.
Yeah, I had a great visit today. I was out at the District 1 Apartments in Hoover, and this wonderful group, just a wonderful time there. We talked weather, Alabama weather, sang some songs, and they left us with that lovely cake. It was yummy, too.
I know. People tore it up downstairs.
Yeah.
What a gorgeous picture of a double rainbow in Cleburne County. Thanks to Tammy Dees for sending that one in to us.
And that's proof that it did rain. And look, it's moving at over 17,000 miles per hour, over around 250 miles up. But in this, I promise, that little tiny area spinning across the sky is the International Space Station. That's a view I captured from Red Mountain. Another chance coming up at 7:56 this evening. Look to the northwest. But we're going to be talking about rain chances, updates on the tropics tonight.
Yes, we will. Have a good evening.